Today has been a dark and ominous day. The storming and breaching of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., the vandalism and violence there, remind me of the storming and breaching of the walls of the Temple in Jerusalem on the 17th of Tammuz 2,600 years ago. What words are as yet unspoken to condemn today's mob for its thuggish and careless violence, its self-righteousness, its nihilistic animosities, its childish, pouting inability to acknowledge a loss, its credulousness of conspiracy theories, calling out some foul stink out there when the stench actually rises up from the imagined grievances in which the mob has been stewing for too long. What words are as yet unspoken to condemn President Trump for his profound irresponsibility, his disdain for virtue, his disregard for human life, his corrosive and grasping cynicism, his hopeless ineptitude, his glorification of violence, his monumental ignorance and fathomless stupidity, his arsonist's delight in destruction, his boundless narcissism, his confusion of brutishness for masculinity, of vulgarity for honesty, and of celebrity for honor. What words are as yet unspoken to condemn the partisans and officials who have indulged President Trump these 4 years, explaining away his incitements and vindictiveness and whims, shamelessly contorting themselves to make space for his unceasing violations because it served their own power. Today's carnival of lawlessness in Washington was an assault on our democracy no less grievous than turning passenger planes into missiles on 9/11, or worse still, because today's attack was perpetrated by American citizens claiming to act on behalf of democracy. It has to be condemned. It is wrong and wholly un-American. I condemn it. We must all condemn it. There must be accountability and justice for the gross violations of law and basic decency that we've witnessed. Today is a landmark day in American history. American democracy, like Judaism, thrives on debate and dissent. It recognizes and embraces legitimate protest, even protest that's wrongly conceived, because people have a right to be wrong. But violent protest? No, no, and no. American democracy, like Judaism, insists on the limitation of power. It guards against the idolatry of elevating any one person over all others and over all else. It is deeply protective of the covenant of mutual regard, general welfare, essential dignity, and shared responsibility by which and for which we constituted ourselves as a nation in the first place. At the foundation of American democracy, as of Judaism, there must be truth. It is the cornerstone of justice, and truth has been trampled today. Or has it? Not all arguments have merit. The mob's claims of a stolen election are false. They are a lie. Their claims are not a machloket l'shem shamayim, a dispute for the sake of heaven. Rather, they are a machloket shel Korach v'chol adato, the dispute of Korach and all of his co-conspirators. The claims are a lie, and because they are a lie, they cannot and they will not stand. You and I know this. How and why the lie is so widely held and promoted, even in the House and Senate chambers, even in the Oval Office, these are questions that will occupy us for some time. But truth, Like the flag of which we sing in our national anthem, the flag is still there. Congress reconvened this evening to certify the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as our next president and vice president. They are and they will be public servants of integrity, vision, and honesty. The transfer of power is still there. American democracy is still there. The American people are still there. We will survive this assault. The smoke will clear, and we will recover from this indignity. But tonight, we will go to sleep knowing that we've lived through a historic day, a day that needs to be remembered. Remembered not so that we can dwell on our distress, but to rededicate ourselves to our ideals. Because the work of preserving and strengthening this nation, of securing the honor of each person's voice, the dignity of an education, the security of health, and the possibility of prosperity for all people in this country, this work must go on. We are reminded tonight that the work will sometimes be harder than we ever imagined. So we ask God, please, to grant us strength, wisdom, patience, creativity, compassion, and discernment, so that we may live our lives and carry out our responsibilities in truth as citizens of the United States of America.